Bandana Joe, and spelled Bandana Joe.
Joe. Sweep.
Right. Well, sweep started in Kaka'ako, and from Kaka'ako, it was every day. It would sweep every day, the sidewalks and stuff. So every day we'd move out of the park, and then we'd move back in after the sweep was like 9, 10, maybe to 12. And after the sweep came, then we'd move back in. It was just uncomfortable, you know. But we grew to a point where that's the way it was, and you know we had to do it. And then later on in Kaka'ako, there was no sweeps. They canceled the sweeps, or they put us on one block, all on one block outside of the park, so that we would. What happened was everybody became so comfortable and amassed such great quantities of stuff that when it was time to sweep, it was almost impossible to move your stuff. And they said they're coming on Wednesday, then they came on Monday. They came on Monday morning, did a warrant check. Whoever had a warrant, they arrested them. And then if you got arrested, then they just swept all your stuff, took all your stuff. And if you didn't get arrested, then you had no place to move your stuff. So everybody was just pulling their hairs. They're like, they didn't know what to do. Alamana is the important one I want you to know about, because that's where a lot of injustice came in at Alamana, because across the street from Alamana is the millionaires. So they're getting complaints of us being down in the park across from the new buildings. So what would happen is they would, like 12 o'clock, I was running late to get out of the park. I was hooking up my trailer and stuff, so about 12 o'clock I was in there. And then everybody had their little camps, but they kind of left their stuff for the night, locked it down, and then go out of the park across the street or whatever for the night, and then come back in the morning. So what the police officers were doing, or I noticed a couple cars rolled in to my friend's Easy Up, and they just got out and started breaking it, smashing it up, cutting the tarp and stuff. And then I was like, oh shoot, I shouldn't be here. So I was kind of hurrying up and got my dog and hooked up my trailer, and then one spotlight hit me, and then by then there was like 5 cars, one in each camp, and then like 5 spotlights hit me. They all, and I was like, hey. So car came over, they're like, what are you doing in the park? I'm running late trying to hook up my stuff, getting out of here. They're like kind of chirping, because I assumed they saw me see them do what they did. So they were like, oh, you know, we can give you a ticket, or you know, arrest you, or you know, fines, whatever. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get out of here. And then they're like, okay, get out of here, but you tell everybody that we're gonna push you guys out of here harder than Kaka'ako, because we're getting complaints, and you know, you guys just gotta get out of here. We can't have this. We can't have this over here. It's like, all right, I'll tell everybody. I told everybody, and I moved out of there because I didn't want to deal with any of that. And then when I would get in touch with people back there, they were kind of complaining and telling me that, yeah, they threw all our stuff in the river and all kind of stuff, threw our stuff in the trash. I was like, I told you guys, they said they're gonna push harder than Kaka'ako. And Kaka'ako, they pushed pretty hard. They arrested people, fake warrant, you know, no warrant at all. They arrest people. That's what happened to me. I didn't have a warrant. I went back to move my stuff, and they told me to move my stuff. Then the next minute they said, come here, we're gonna book you and take you in. So I was like, I mean, for what? I know I didn't have a warrant, because a couple days ago I just got out of jail. And then they're like, oh, you got something pending. You got something pending. Took me to cell block, released me like 4 or 5 hours later, because there was nothing pending. But in the meantime, what they did, since they got me out of the way from my stuff, they were able to take all of my stuff and throw it away, because nobody's there to move it or claim it, and yeah, so they threw that away. So in Alamana, they were just doing all kinds of radical stuff, like cutting the tarps, tents, and you're not supposed to have a tent, first of all, but everybody had easy ups then. Easy up with one wall is legal. They'd break the easy ups, throw the bike parts in the river, and all the clothes and stuff in the river, and it was mayhem. Because I mean, what can you do? It's like 5-6 police officers, you know what I mean? You can't really say, hey, stop that or whatever, you know what I mean? Because it'll just be worse for you later. Yeah, break up stuff and throw stuff in the river. It's weird because it's not their job, first of all, and then usually they would call the guys, the sweep guys. They'll come handle the material, you know. Either if you don't want to store it, they'll throw it away. Got the truck with the compactor right there, they'll crush it. But if you want to store it, they put it in the bins and they take it to Halava, and you got a chance to get it back. But it's very slim chance because you need to make an appointment only on Fridays, and you need to take a truck to go out there, you know. And a lot of people don't have access to that kind of resources. Yeah, medication. Yeah, my leg is swollen up because they chased me around 4 different places after we got swept from Longs. It was behind Longs at see, from Alamoana they told me to go to Thomas Square because that's dog friendly. We had 2 dogs and they're service animals and they're registered. But Alamoana, there's no dogs allowed in the park if you're homeless. It's like, because an officer was telling me that, and then a regular lady was walking by and she said, did he say there's no dogs allowed in Alamoana Park? And there's obviously dogs, you know, running around and exercising, but what it means is no dogs stay there, live there, you know what I mean? Like, if we're gonna be there, we're basically squatting there, living there. So for us, we get a ticket every day. So they finally said, you gotta go, get out of here, go to a dog friendly park. And they could only name Thomas Square, and then, or else we're gonna arrest you every day. We're gonna arrest you already. We're tired of giving tickets. I'm like, I'm tired of getting tickets. I mean, you know, everybody else's dogs are okay, but ours aren't, even though they're registered and service animals, you know. And then when I went up to Thomas Square, one day, the officers that were down in Alamoana, the ones who run the quads, came up and they're like, hey Joe, you made it up here? I was like, yeah, made it up here, right on. They go, are your dogs on leash? I said, yep, my dogs are on leash. They got water? Yep. Okay, all right, you're all good. So the very next day, another officer came who wasn't familiar with us, was like, oh, I'm gonna write you a citation for your dogs. And I was like, oh, but I was sent up here because it's a dog-friendly park. Then he was like, oh, really? Oh, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, I'll check on that. But I'm going to cite you for the tent over there. I said, oh, it's not a tent. It's just a tarp over some of my stuff. He goes, oh, what's on this stuff? It's shopping carts, right? I'm going to cite you for shopping carts. I was like, no, man. I got all dollies and, you know, my own kind of carts. Legal carts. And he's looking at it. He's like, well, I'm gonna check on the dog thing and I'll get back to you. And right then I had my friend go read the sign because I never really read it. I just assumed it's dog friendly because they said so, and they have dog shows there. And then my friend ran out and he said, no animals allowed except for dogs on leashes. It says on the sign. So I was like, phew. He never came back because obviously he read the same sign and it said, no animals allowed except for dogs on leashes. What I was wondering is, how come he didn't know that prior? You know, he's so eager to write me tickets that, you know, I've had probably, no bull lie, probably 50 tickets in the last couple of years because you know, now there's a structure ticket, which is anything not, they say structure along the sidewalk, but we don't block the sidewalk. We make sure not to block it, but next to the sidewalk, the easement, they call it a gray area, but we kind of set up over there so that the sidewalk's unblocked. But then they say it's obstructing the motor's access, like if they park on the parking and our stuff is here, for them to walk to the sidewalk, you know, it obstructs that, which it really doesn't because everybody's place has space in between, you know. So But I don't want to argue. You know what I mean? I'll just try to be compliant as possible. Yeah, social distancing is kind of a trip because we're, we're a tight knit group. Sometimes we have limited space, like over there. It's limited space, and luckily right now there's only 3 people there. But I mean, tonight we got to move out already anyway. So, but any more than 3 would have been cramping us up too much. We wouldn't have the space, for social distancing. And just people, because what I do is I fix bikes and trailers and help people, feed people and whatever. So a lot of times more than a couple people come at a time. And then my friend's always trying to remind us, or she's always trying to remind me in the back of my head. She's like, no grouping more than 3 people. Tell those people they got to go across the street. And she's always on it. She's on it. She's on it. I mean, I'm more relaxed. You know what I mean? If 4 people need food or whatever, a couple of people need work on their bike, I'll work on it, and I won't even think about the distancing too much. But she's always there whenever she's around. She's like, hey, no more than 3 people. You guys got to break that up. Go in 2 separate groups and stuff, which I really commend her for. She really is akamai. But it's rough to do. It's rough to do out here, especially if you say, like at Long's, we all stayed in this little alley, and at night, next to the Japanese church, in between church and Long's, and there was like 6 or 8 different camps, and we had this little fire access alley, so we were kind of crushed in there. But there was enough room for us, but maybe we didn't get, what is the distance, 10 foot apart per camp?
Like that,
yeah, we didn't really measure, but yeah, we didn't really get it. It's kind of hard to do at times, especially at like feedings and stuff like that you really can't, because you all got to stand in line, and it's just boom, boom, boom. You got to just receive whatever benefit they have, and then you can go and sit down in a separate group. But yeah, it's kind of rough, man. See, the next step, that's the thing, it's so unclear. From Long's, we left, and it was a spur of the moment thing. They kind of did a impromptu warrant check that we didn't know about, and the officers were apologizing after saying, oh, we're sorry about that, we didn't know, but we just got the order last minute to go down there and warrant check and arrest whoever and sweep their stuff. And I was like, I mean, it's cool with me. I mean, it's just part of the way it is. I didn't take no feelings on it, but I was wondering why like more than 4 different officers apologized about that particular situation. And I was like, because it must have been something wrong, must have been something wrong on their end, because they should have just stayed quiet about it. You know what I mean? Don't apologize, because then I wouldn't think anything was wrong. But come to think of it, it was all wrong. Arresting people, Anthony and the others, and then allowing me only 10 minutes to get my stuff. That's wrong. It's supposed to be half an hour, from what I remember. But they can change that at any time too. So, I'm just a pawn. I'm a pawn. I just kind of robot around and do what minimally I can to get by. To get services, hard to get hard to get rest. It's hard to get everything. Hard to get everything, because it uproots us. It forces us out to wander, with no place to sleep, no place to rest, and you got some stuff usually, and no place to, put your stuff safely, except for like maybe a parking lot or something, and then you got to stay with it all the time. You got to watch your stuff, or people hit your cart and take all your stuff off, rob you, or take the whole thing away. They'll just wheel it away and have at it. And also that pushes us into other communities of people, regular pedestrians and stuff that, you know, it pushes us into their area, you know what I mean, unwillingly, and on both sides, unwillingly and unsure about what's going on or where to go. So it's all bad. It's all bad.
And
We end up sleeping on the side of the road, perhaps, you know, on a little strip of grass, and you know, hopefully nobody robs our stuff, but more often than not, people do. Bikes are one of the number one thing. Everybody's bike's missing. I just got a bike back today that was stolen for about a week, and I'm lucky to get it back. It's all messed up, it's changed, but it can be fixed, but it's just a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt. Well, the shelter's kind of like a big, first of all, it's kind of a big scam, you know. There's no rooms, first of all. There's no room. Then there's bed bugs. Then there's people in there stealing and stuff, you know. There's it's a crowded situation, you know what I mean? That's the thing about that. As for now, for the corona, it's crowded. Everybody's in a warehouse and packed together, little cubicles. It's open air, you know. They're whatever, 4 or 5 foot tall, and it's not good. It's really not good. Disease and sickness, you know, runs through there rampant. If the flu, one person gets it, everybody will get it, and it's just not healthy. It's not comfortable. Also, you know, the rules. A lot of people I know were in Sand Island and stuff. So far out there, it's just tough to make it there in time for the curfew and stuff. So a lot of people I know got kicked out for, you know, violating curfew. And I'm not used to curfews, you know, so yeah, I like to thank everybody that supports us. Some people drop off food and clothes, and you know, that's really big help with the feedings. Well, the feedings are canceled now as per the corona, but previously, you know, it's a big help. Alamana, the chicken on Monday and Thursday was big help, really big. Fresh roast chicken is awesome. It's not like, you know, other feedings that have like cabbage stew or, you know, something to stretch. It's just really good to have good chicken like that. It's awesome. Everybody's supporting. Thank you to all of them, even if they're anonymous, and you know who you are. It's just a big help, because we need help. We need help. It's rough. It's rough. But it's the life I chose, because I try to give back and help people. So that's why I also refuse to go to the shelters and stuff, because I think people out here are hungry and they don't know where to get food or you know, clothes or blankets and stuff. So I stay out here. I refused to go in one time so that I could stay and help people. But then next couple of days, my stuff got all swept, all my food, my canned goods and blankets and stuff. So it's kind of a moot point at times, but gotta keep trying.